Capricorn, hello there, my beautiful friends. We're going to do your general tarot reading for mid-November 2024. Thank you so much for joining me today. You know, I appreciate each and every single one of you. So let's get right down to business as always and start you off with an oracle card here, just so we could dip our toes in the energy and see what's happening for the lovely Capricorns. Hope you're all doing fabulous and fantastic, my friends. Let's get it going here. My God, Spirit Team, talk to me. What do we got for the Cappies? In mid-November Scorpio season, what's happening? What energies, messages, insights can we take a little peek at? And yeah, we're just going to take a real quick look at this first card, then we'll get into the full reading itself. At the very end, I'll pull you a bonus card from the Shadowland Tarot just to see what might be in the shadows or what shadow work you can lean into, which is always interesting. But let's get it going here. Let's rock and see what we got for the Cappies in mid-November. What's the vibe? What's the energy around my good friends here? Please and thank you. Let's get this first card out nice and quick. There we go. Thank you. Okay, time. All right, so to me, this card, although it looks very simple on the surface, has a lot of undertones, and I often see it show up when certain situations we're dealing with. Time is an important factor. Whether there's something you're waiting on or whether a certain amount of time has passed or needs to pass, whatever you're dealing with right now, whether career or personal, time could be playing a big factor. Now, before we fully dive into that, if you're new here, I'll be speaking about the November subscriber surprise towards the end, so you might want to check that out. And also, if you could kindly illuminate that like button by tapping it right on its third eye, you know, I'd greatly appreciate it. But enough of the promo, into the reading. Let's talk a little bit more about this card. So the lovely lady, she is holding the hourglass and the sands are slipping through the glass through her fingers. Now, we could really chop this up in a lot of different ways. I already told you that it does deal with time in one way or another. So again, whether it's biding your time, waiting on something, a certain amount of time has elapsed. I always say that people experience time in different ways. You know, some days it seems to drag, or a certain amount of time it's like, oh, this is taking forever. But some days it's like, okay, where'd the time go? So that could even be the case for some of you where it's like, okay, I don't want to waste time. That could be another big thing. So whatever it is you're dealing with, make sure you're putting your energy to proper use and that you're making the most of your time, the most of your effort. Any situations that are a drain on your time is something you might want to take a closer look at with this card. But again, for another portion of you, maybe just time is necessary for something. So we're just going to put her down right there. Interesting little card. And yeah, let's get into tarot. I always say that first card there doesn't make or break the reading. It's just a little footnote. So let's get you 3 tarot cards in the upright. Then we'll get into that intuitive juiciness. Shuffle it up one time here for the Cappies and see what you got. And while we get this deck shuffled up and ready to go, let's talk about last week's reading. Now, I will mention this. For the past several weeks, there's been a bit of a volatile energy I've been picking up in the Capricorn readings for some reason. Last week's reading was titled An Explosive Warning. Lots of fire energy. Now that could be good because sometimes that's a very malleable, changeable type of energy, but at the same time there's an unpredictability to it, and that's been a big theme I've been seeing for a while now. So hopefully if things have been popping up, they haven't been too rough for you. But let's see what shows up this week. As you know, energy is very fluid, never set in stone, so only take this how it hits for you, because we could be seeing your vibe or someone that you're linked to. Let's get it going. 3 cards for the Cappies. What do we got in mid-November? Okay. Okay, 5 of Swords. It doesn't have to be bad. All right, so for those of you that know the card meanings, know that this can be good. There's a little bit of an aggression with this card, but we'll see how it all plays. It all depends on what surrounds it. Let's get a couple more out here. What do we got for Capricorn? Could definitely be a determined energy. All right, King of Swords. So it's like we're making a little switch from all that fire into the air energy, which can be good. And this is a theme I've been seeing for a lot of the zodiac signs this week. The themes of the sword suit have been playing strong with everybody, honestly. Let's get one more. Let's get one more here. Thank you. Okay, 7 of Swords. All swords. Okay, and here's that little bit of mystery here on the back end. So we will talk about it. I mean, of course, this could be a little challenging, but you know how I am with readings. We're not going to call it a challenge until we see the finale. But let's go through. I'll give you some of the classical meanings and archetypes, then we'll get into that juicy intuitive stuff. But at first glance, you know, I always look at the elements first because that's very important. We have all swords. Now in tarot, for those of you that don't know, swords, that represents the element of air. So whether you're connected to an air sign, the air energy rules over logic, the mind, thought processes, but also communication. And that's the big theme I've been seeing with a lot of people, either lots of communication or the lack thereof. There could be a little aggression with these cards too. It doesn't have to be a bad thing, but let's go through piece by piece and really start to build this out, because I have a feeling this week's reading is going to have quite a bit of nuance. The good thing I will say about all this air energy is if there are difficulties, it's like, okay, they move through quickly, because swords, that's the fastest moving suit out of all of them. But position number one, we're starting off with the Five of Swords. Now, you know me, I always say cards have positive and challenge. So let's talk about the positives of this Five of Swords. We see this individual, it looks like he just had a little dust up, a little brawl with those two people, and he has all the swords. So sometimes to me, this is a card of triumphing, overcoming, winning. This is a big card of determination. So with whatever situations you might be dealing with, it's important to just have determination. And listen, I know Capricorns out of the whole zodiac, when your energy or your mind is set on something, there's nothing that can really get in your way. So the Five of Swords is really good for that determined type of energy. But let's talk about the challenges. This card can be a little cold. It could be a little mean. It can speak about conflict. In its worst case scenario, it could be someone you're connected to that might be a little self-centered, selfish, worst case, narcissistic. So we're not going to say that's definitely the case, but there's a certain aggression about it. So there might be something, especially with the next couple cards, that you just need to look at realistically. It's like, all right, don't let emotion get involved. Just use your brain, think of it realistically. And we'll see how this all plays out. Pardon me. Now, moving over to the center, and this is the reason I'm not super concerned about all these swords, is we have the King of Swords right there in the middle. Now, I always say that kings represent control of their suit. So when we have a sword-heavy suit, I like seeing this King of Swords, because it's like, no, I got this under control. Even if it is challenging, whatever it might be, I got this. And that's a really good thing. Now, for a portion of you, you might be connected to Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius. If that's not the case, I think the King of Swords is extremely logical and intelligent. So for a lot of Cappies, I mean, your logic, your intelligence could be heightened more so than normal when this card is here. It's a big card of strategy and planning. So for a lot of things you might be going through, whether you need to plan it properly, to me, it's like, all right, go step by step by step. You need to have a roadmap to whatever it is you're trying to accomplish when we have this King of Swords. So again, whether it's a plan you need to institute or someone you're connected to that could be instituting a plan. But when we get to the challenge of the King of Swords, very stern, very serious, cut and dry, no BS. So again, with whatever this is that's showing up, that might need to be the approach that you take. Either that or you're just extra strict in your ways when this type of energy is here. So we're definitely going to need to clarify him and see what's up. But I like the fact that he has control over all these swords, whether it is conversational or whether it is mental. Now on the back end, we have the Seven of Swords. Now, if you're a tarot reader, you know this isn't the nicest type of energy. And we'll go through the positives of this as well. We see this individual, they're making away with all these swords. So we have this interesting dynamic with the Five of Swords. He's getting away with all the swords. The Seven of Swords, he's getting away with a whole bunch of swords as well. So hopefully this is you triumphing or getting something out of an experience. That could be good. The Seven of Swords is a huge card of mystery. In its most positive sense, it could just represent something, situation, or details that are just out of your view. It could just be unknown factors. Now, the Seven of Swords, in its roughest sense, could be pretty rough, and I'm being honest with you. It could represent individuals that you might want to keep at arm's length, secrecy, people that aren't telling the truth. It could represent deception and thievery, a whole bunch of things here. But remember, I always go neutral until we see what the final clarifiers are for this. So as you can see with the way all these energies are flowing, it's like, okay, well, the energy's moving fast. I like that the king is in control of this, but listen, there could be some warnings. So I want to dive deeper on all of it. Let's jump in and clarify. Let's get a good shuffle here for the Cappies. What is happening? And yes, this is where I go intuitive with the message, which means I just tell you how it feels to me. So feel free to do further research or rely on your base knowledge of tarot, because as you know, every single reading is about the reader's interpretation, and I'm just giving you mine. Let's go in on that 5. And yes, if you're a reader yourself, please feel free to play along. That's why the box is here. If you're feeling any messages you want to give to Cappy, you could drop it in the comments. I don't mind at all. All right, Five of Swords time. What's going on? Why is that Five of Swords? Ooh, quick. Magician, cool. All right, so there is something coming in that looks pretty promising. Okay, now another thing I do need to represent or say, the King of Swords and the Magician share a couple things in common because they both have undertones of controlling a situation. So whatever it is you might be going through, whether it's career related, work related, I feel like you probably have more control in how the situation's going to go than you might realize. Now, some of you might know it's like, no, yeah, it doesn't matter. I got this. It's like giving me that kind of vibe here. The Magician is all about manifesting. Okay, so the only warning I can see here is if you're dealing with an individual that is like way too controlling, or someone that's trying to control how you act, like anything where someone's trying to enforce their control on you, that's where it might get rough. That's where we might see some conflict here because there could be a rejection of that. And also some of you might need to know this could be someone else you're dealing with where if they feel like they're being controlled too much, they're going to lash out. Okay, so there might be something you need to take a passive approach with. That's kind of a vibe I'm picking up here. Again, it's not bad, but when I see the Five of Swords and the manifestation of the Magician, it's like, okay, I could come out on top with this. Either that or I got it under control, even if the waters are choppy. So we're just going to leave it at that. Let's keep moving, see what else shows up, especially with all like the plan-based energy we could be picking up in the latter end of this. So let's go in on that King of Swords and we'll keep moving. Why is the King of Swords here for the Cappies, please? What is going on? What's that King of Swords here? Thank you. Okay. Yeah, so when I see the Four of Wands, the 1111 card, I feel like I need to let you know, especially with the Magician right next to it. In this time, you might be receiving a lot more number signs, synchronicities, and omens than usual. Okay, now I do know most people that are spiritual, active in that way. Like we do see number signs, right? We do get these little hints from our guides in the universe. But I feel like even for those of you that are very pragmatic and scientific minded, when I see the King of Swords and the Four of Wands in reverse, it's like, keep your eyes open for the signs and omens because you could be getting some direction. But another thing I see here with the Four of Wands in reverse, that's an uprooting or someone about to make a move. So when we have the plan-based action, also now the fire mixing in here, the King of Swords with the Four of Wands in reverse, if you're not strategizing your way to whatever your next goals are or whatever it is you're dealing with, I still feel like there needs to be a step by step by step. So whether this is you that needs to institute a plan to solve whatever it is you're going through, or to even just move the energy forward, or this, again, could be someone you're connected to with the King of Swords, Four of Wands in reverse, where it's like, no, I'm moving forward with this. They're about to put a plan into motion. Okay. And there's this aggressive energy in the undertone as well. So for a lot of Capricorns in the coming week, I just feel like there's a certain aggression around you. Okay. Whether it's you or somebody else. Let's just keep moving. So yeah, that to me, it's somebody planning something, either that or the omens. Keep an eye out for them. Let's see what the Seven of Swords has. I just want to make sure that that's not a warning of some sort. The one thing I do like about this energy is that it's moving. It's not as volatile as recent weeks, but it's definitely not calm. So let's see what's up with that Seven of Swords, that little mystery. Why is that here? Why is that here? Hierophant in reverse. Okay. Now, this is another uprooting, okay, with the Hierophant in reverse. And the Hierophant, to me, whether it represents long-term commitments, day-to-day life, routine, I do feel for a lot of you, there could be a situation that pops up out of the blue, regardless of all the planning. It's like, all right, well, I did have a plan in place. I would say plan for every eventuality, if that's possible. Listen, I know life throws us curveballs all the time. You know, it's impossible to plan for every single eventuality, but I feel like the more prepared you are, the better off you're going to be. Because with the Seven of Swords, the hidden energy, and the Hierophant in reverse, like this is an unexpected change or just something that's going to happen. It's like a situation that you didn't quite see coming. Now the Hierophant, that's Taurus energy. Usually in the upright, it's very earthy, very grounded. It's not budging, it's not moving. Like I mentioned, this represents power structures. It represents day-to-day life. It represents things and people that have been in our life for a very long time. So when it shows up in reverse, that's similar to a tower. So with the Seven of Swords in this, once again, I feel like it's unexpected or surprising change. Either that or a situation's just going to pop up I feel like the more prepared you are in advance, the better. But for a lot of you, it could be something where it's just going to come out of the blue. I don't necessarily feel like it's terrible, though. Okay, so it kind of links into some of the vibes we were seeing last week, especially with the uprooting, especially on the back end of this. Let's go through and do a quick recap, then we'll get into the shadow card. I feel like there are some silver linings in this week's reading, and that's a good thing. But if you kindly look in the box, position number 1, and the way it flows, I do feel, regardless of what's coming up, you got this. We have the Five of Swords and the Magician in the upright. I did say the only warning there would be lashing out against authority, or if you feel like you're being controlled or like you're a chess piece on the chessboard, then that might be an issue. If there's someone you're connected to where they're very rebellious, this is their energy lashing out as well. So I feel like with certain situations, a passive approach is the best case scenario. But then again, I do feel like you could be in the driver's seat, whether you know it or whether you don't. Into the center, we have the King of Swords with the Four of Wands in reverse. Keep your eyes open, especially with these two cards for signs, synchronicities, and omens, because those could be heightened. Spirit trying to direct you. But again, I get somebody either making plans or about to put one into action. So whether that's you trying to plan for every eventuality, or whether that's Spirit saying like, hey, listen, no, this person's, they're not flying by the seat of their pants. They actually have plans for their motives. Onto the back end, we have the Seven of Swords with the Hierophant in reverse. Now, to me, this feels like either an unexpected or surprising change, like one that pops up out of the blue, because this is also uprooting. But another vibe I pick up here is just, regardless of how much you plan, this could be a situation that just pops up out of nowhere. So, I mean, it doesn't have to be a bad thing. It all depends on how you look at it. But not as volatile. That's a good thing. And with all the control we have here on the top and with the Magician, I feel like everything's going to be cool. So please take a screenshot. Let's see what's in the shadows for you. And as I'm sure many of you already know, in life, things are going to happen that are out of our hands, right? I mean, it's good when we can control certain outcomes, but there's always going to be certain things that's like, well, what are you going to do? You can only control your reactions. But let's see what's up. And yeah, I always like to pull one shadow card at the very end just to see whether it's something within you or something you don't quite see. Shadow cards don't always have to be a challenge. They could be a good thing. So let's get you one. Oh, and yes, if you made it to this point in the reading, please feel free to check out channel memberships. I'll put a link for it in the comments below. It's a beautiful way to support the channel, and I have much love for all my channel members. Okay, let's get this going for you. What do we have? Oh, okay. That one popped out nice and quick. So we do have the Hermit, and I do feel like that ties in to kind of what I was seeing here in the front, that now might be the time for you to take a more passive approach, because the Hermit energy is like retracted. It's pulled back. It's not doing much, and it's kind of waiting to see how something plays out. Now, the Hermit sometimes in its shadow sense could represent isolation, loneliness, or pulling your energy back to base, to ground zero. So for a lot of you, you might just need to do that. Like, all right, for the time being, I'm not going to put energy out. I'm just going to see how something plays out. That could be a good thing. For a portion of you might be connected to a Virgo, but the Hermit does have a lot of wisdom. There's a lot of spirituality, just like these cards along the bottom here. So I like that this is in the shadows, but I do feel for a lot of you, I mean, passive approach. I don't know why that's a thing. And I know that's hard as a cardinal sign. Capricorns are all about taking action and moving things forward. But when the Hermit's here, it's like, all right, see how this plays out first. So yeah, Capricorn, that's what I have for you this week, my beautiful friends. Don't click away just yet, though. I'm going to give you the details of the November subscriber surprise. If you would like to book a personal reading with me, you can check out my digital calendar and book one on my website, mastermetaphysics.com. But for the November subscriber surprise, I'm giving away 2 copies of one of my all-time favorite decks, the Gilded Tarot Royale. So if you'd like to get your name in for this, 2 simple things as always, my friends. First, you must be subscribed. And second, let me know down in the comments, out of all the tarot cards, which one do you feel is the most misunderstood? And if you're new to tarot completely, which one do you have a little trouble with understanding its meaning? You'll be entered to win, and at the end of the month, the winners will be announced in my community tab. As always, my friends, much love, and I'll see you soon.